You ever get that feeling when someone's standing on your porch just looking at your life like they're already picturing bulldozers rolling through your memories? That's what it felt like the first time Diane Wilcox set foot on my property just outside town where the pastures are wide and the barns have seen better days. She had that look, the one where you can practically hear her calculating what your cows, your horses, your sweat, and your heart are doing to her spreadsheet of property values. She barely glanced at my old barn, didn't care about the history or the herd, just flipped open her portfolio like it was the Bible of suburbia and started talking about community standards, quality of life, all those shiny phrases that make you want to grab a shovel and start digging a moat. I'm not saying I was surprised, not really. Folks like Diane are always convinced they're bringing civilization to the wild. Her speech was slick, her numbers impressive, and she pointed at my cattle monitoring gear like she'd found a crime scene. We need to consider if agricultural land use is truly compatible with the vision our homeowners invested in. She said, that real estate smile plastered on her face. The message was clear as a bell. My cows were lowering her home values, and she'd be damned if her property taxes weren't spent weeding out folks like me. You ever get the sense someone's not just there for a neighborly chat? That was Diane. Too many facts, too many testimonials, a stack of glossy pamphlets about neighborhood improvement that sounded a lot more like forced relocation. I've been around software and security long enough to spot a shakedown in business casual. Her visit wasn't about talking, it was about pushing, and she handed me a business card like she was passing a sentence. She made her offer sell out to the development. They'll even sweeten the pot. Just pack up the life you've built and get out of the way of progress. Now, I'm not new to this. My granddad worked this land since before they put in paved roads, and my late wife, Sarah, she had dreams of running a tech-forward, sustainable farm that honored the old ways but looked to the future. I told Diane as much. Showed her the AI equipment, explained I was bringing Silicon Valley to the hayfields. She never missed a beat, just recalculated, her eyes going cold. Smile fixed, but her jaw a little tighter. I sat on the porch after she left, watching her shiny Lexus disappear down the gravel road, and realized exactly what she was up to. She wasn't here to negotiate. She was here to break me. You see, I used to design systems to catch people who think they're smarter than the law. What Diane was doing, that's called social engineering, and she made one big mistake. She picked a target who could spot a con a mile away. That night, I launched Project Predictive Justice. Every camera, every AI sensor, all of it went into high gear. If she wanted a psychological war, she was about to find out what happens when a farm fights back with algorithms and hard evidence. For the next few weeks, while Diane organized community meetings about the threat of agricultural blight, my system built her digital profile every time she spoke at a gathering. Every angry word about smells and noise, every side eye at my barn, it went straight into the system. Voice stress analysis, movement patterns, escalation predictions. By the end of week 2, the AI was betting she'd move from nagging to outright crime within days. It wasn't just me in the fight. My old college buddy Derek, now the county sheriff, was tracking Diane's activity on the law enforcement side. He saw the patterns too, the fake animal welfare complaints, the push for emergency ordinances, the phone calls to code enforcement at midnight. Turns out Diane had run the same playbook in 3 other improvement projects, squeezing out families who didn't fit her picture of the perfect suburb, pocketing fat commissions from every revitalized property. But nobody before me had ever documented it all. Here's the twist. Diane's compulsion didn't start with real estate. Court records showed she lost custody of her daughter Lucy after a divorce where she'd tried to track the poor kid's every move. Diane couldn't control her family, so she tried to control her world. My AI picked up the first red flag when chemical sensors caught traces of livestock poison near the fence. Movement tracking showed Diane and her crew snooping around my property before dawn. Audio mics caught her whispering about permanent solutions with a shifty vet named Marcus Webb, who, by the way, had already lost his license in 2 states for helping fake animal neglect cases. This wasn't petty harassment anymore. This was the kind of stuff the FBI calls domestic terrorism. My system was ready. When Diane made her move, pouring poison in the water trough, then calling in her expert to try and seize my animals, every camera, every sensor was rolling. Her face, her voice, her words recorded in high-def, time-stamped, and sent to a federal case file before she even made it back to her car. She tried to spin it, of course, telling me the community has a responsibility to intervene and promising she'd be back with proper authorities. Her confidence was chilling, but for the first time I caught a flicker of doubt when she looked at the horses like maybe she remembered her own kid once loved animals. For a moment I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. That weekend word got around. My neighbor Pete spotted unmarked vans parked on the ridge at midnight while Jenny Chen, the local reporter who smelled a bigger story, uncovered Diane recruiting volunteers for what she called a community intervention. Derek's contacts confirmed Diane had been asking about livestock seizure laws. The AI's prediction total destruction within 48 hours. That night a suspicious fire broke out in my hay shed. Diane and her crew celebrated just out of camera range, thinking they'd pulled off the perfect intimidation play. Joke was on them, the shed was full of scrap and the fire suppression system kicked in before it even got started. Meanwhile, my AI had it all faces. Voices, the works. The feds now had enough to move in, but the worst was yet to come. You ever watch someone walk into their own trap? As the AI predicted, Diane's final solution wasn't just property damage. She brought explosives. The night before the planned attack, Pete collapsed in his barn heart attack. I rushed over, system went into autonomous mode, and that's when Pete, clutching my arm, whispered, he'd been undercover for the FBI all along, helping Derek build the case from the inside. Suddenly, all those random visits made sense. By the time I got back, Diane's crew was moving in bolt cutters and hand explosives tucked into backpacks caught on every camera. The AI alerted Derek federal teams closed in, and as Diane tried to smash my decoy cameras, the real evidence streamed to the FBI in real time. She even tried to live stream her version of events for her daughter. My system blocked her feed and sent her heroic monologue straight to federal prosecutors instead. That was the end. Diane, her cronies, and that dirty vet all arrested with the evidence bulletproof and undeniable. As the cuffs snapped on, she muttered, "Lucy, forgive me," into the lens, and I'll tell you, I almost wish things had ended differently for her, but she'd crossed every line. The aftermath. It changed everything. FBI Director Martinez called my system the gold standard for rural crime prevention. The evidence was so airtight, Diane's lawyer went straight to a plea bargain. No jury in the world would buy her story. The town, well, they saw that technology could protect tradition instead of wiping it out. Pete recovered local farmers, lined up to sign on for AI security, and even Jenny's news reports started highlighting how old-school values and new-school tech could keep communities safe. The most unexpected part, Diane's daughter Lucy wrote a letter after seeing the court-approved footage, said she finally understood her mom's behavior wasn't evil, just broken. Maybe one day there'd be room for forgiveness, but first there had to be accountability. Today my farm's more than a patch of land, it's a model for protecting rural America. Sarah's dream, our dream, is alive with kids learning about sustainable farming, solar panels powering the barns, and AI standing watch where fences and neighbors once fell short. Diane. She's learning organic farming in a federal rehab program. Maybe she'll figure out that real strength isn't about control, but about care, patience, and respect. If you've ever faced down someone trying to take what's yours, you know how lonely and frustrating that fight can feel. But here's proof patience, preparation, and a little intelligence can beat even the worst bully at their own game. So what would you do to protect your legacy? Drop your story in the comments. Maybe it'll help someone else stand tall when the pressure comes. If this gave you hope, give it a like and share it with the next person who needs a reminder that justice, like good soil, only grows when you put in the work.